And yan, nandito na si Attorney. Magandang hapon, Attorney. Glad to
Hello
have
po,
you here.
magandang hapon po sa inyo.
Good afternoon, Attorney Operario. Nice meeting you po
Mike
here.
Operario.
Hello po. How are you guys? Kumusta po
kayo
kayo lahat dyan?
Maraming naghahanap ng legal mind, Attorney. Kaya nga nung nasabi ni babaeng marangal, ni Yumi Santiago na pwede kayo ngayon. Aba, ang daming kasama natin na sa live. Mga classmate natin sa University of Nothing Follows, ang tuwang-tuwa to have you here.
Thank you so much for gracing us. Yeah.
Salamat po. Welcome po sa lahat ng mga nandiyan na nakikinig sa atin. And I hope maging fruitful itong ating discussion today.
Yes. Good afternoon po, Attorney Operario.
Hello ma'am, how are you?
Alala niyo na po ako.
Opo.
Kasama ko kayo nung nakasama ko kayo dati kila Governor at saka kila
Gabding. Opo.
Gabding at saka kay Kuya Boy.
Kay Boy, opo.
Governor. Saka kila Edwin Enrile. Ito po, nakibukal Beltran siya nung time na yon.
I see.
Manny.
Manny.
Ayan, si Attorney Pogi na daw. Ayan na, meron na kayong pangalan.
Kayo pala ang president ng IBP ngayon dito. May nabanggit po sa
Opo.
Congratulations.
Ayan.
Yan po sa mga pinagmamalaki ng Bataan.
Yeah, and I would like to introduce Attorney Mike, si Sir Nelson ng Channel 167, si Roddy Dax, yung cartoons, and then si Sir Mike. And then si mahal na Reynan Edwin Hamora ng ating University of Nothing Follows. Ayan, Team Alindog. Actually, ka-team namin din sila, Madam Maharlika, ayan. Saka sila Spokes Harry. Kaya lang kasi, syempre, because of time difference, hindi kami salubong for this time.
Opo.
Ayun. Kasi kanina pinifeature namin yung video mo. So, sabi ko, naisip ko lang na kontakin ko si Madam Rene. Sabi ko, baka po pwede na i-reach out ka. And, yun na nga, may paliwanag nyo yung POV nyo dito sa nangyari sa Senado ngayon.
Okay. Alin ba dong video yung sinasabi niyo? Marami
kasi sa ICC, ano yan? ICC, tapos yung arrest warrant, mga ganyan.
Yung diniscuss nyo, Attorney, yung nangyari nung Lunes, di ba, na buong buhay natin, ngayon lang tayo nakakita ng isang maigting, maaksyon at madrama na kudeta sa Senado.
Tama po. I've been with the Senate noong 1994 up to 1997. And dun sa 3 taon na yon, mga ilang kudeta din yung nasaksihan ko. Pero walang kasing madrama at maaksyon na kudeta na nangyari. Nakakaya nito. I mean, yung kudeta noon is done in secret and in a gentlemanly manner. Pag alam nung kalaban na wala na siyang sapat na bilang, voluntaryo namang bababa and will become the minority leader. Ganun lang talaga yung sistema. Pero ito, apparently, parang base doon sa revelation ni Senator Alan Peter Cayetano, that alam ni Tito Soto na papuntahin doon yung mga NBI at talagang pipigilan talaga deliberately si Bato de la Rosa in order for them not to get the majority vote of 13. So, ito, kung accurate itong informasyon na ito, and I have no reason to doubt yung information ni Senator Cayetano on this matter, apparently may bad faith talaga dito sa ginawa nila kay Senator Bato de la Rosa, because the intention really was to subvert yung intention ng mga senator na magpalit ng liderato at gagamitin itong NBI as an instrument of harassment in order for them to accomplish yung purpose nila. Wala na po itong kinalaman sa batas, sa demokrasya. This is everything about politics po ito. Politika po ito. But this is what you will categorically declare as dirty politics. There is nothing honorable about what happened last Tuesday doon sa last Monday doon sa Senado.
Ayan. MNR, may question ka ba kay Attorney? I think meron kang question yesterday, di ba? Sa nangyari kahapon.
Uh, I think my question is along the lines of parliamentary and presidential system. Kasi
okay.
parati nating sinasabi na, we have a totally fucked up system of government under the presidential system. So what we have seen yesterday is that it appears that the minority only won because Legarda jumped ship, right?
Mhm.
Right. Now,
Something like that. Yeah.
isn't this like really teaching the masses kung paano maging traidor? Kasi system really fucks up the citizenry. And that's how we see it from the presidential system. And this is exactly what the presidential system is teaching the Filipino people. Kung paano maging traidor. So,
Mhm.
do you see what's happening as is it really better now to have a federal parliamentary system instead of what we're seeing now from the presidential system?
That's a good question. However, meron ako natatandaang turo mula sa aking dating boss. And one of the best presidents I think that we never had, si Senator Raul Roco. Sabi niya sa akin noon, the right form of government in the hands of the wrong people will result to wrong governance. The wrong form of government in the hands of the right people will still result to right governance. So I don't think that the system of government is the question here. The question here is about having the right people running
The
our
right
government.
form of government.
Hindi lang gobyerno ang problema natin dito. Hindi gobyerno, hindi yung uri ng gobyerno, kundi yung mga tao yung namumuno. I don't think, natanong din sa akin ito noon, kung maganda ba itong magkaroon tayo ng federal system at this time. Sabi ko, not under the present conditions that we are in. Because if we form a federal form of government under this current regime, na namumuno sa kada probinsya, kada rehiyon, ay mga political dynasties. What we will create is just several kingdoms. Maglahati-hati lang tayo at magkikreate ka ng maliliit na mga kaharian sa Pilipinas, kagaya nung panahon ng bago dumating ang mga Kastila. Kaya ang dali-dali tayong nasako ng mga Kastila. We're just creating smaller kingdoms. And kung gusto natin, okay ako doon sa federal system. However, there are lots of things that we need to correct. One of them is to demolish first the existing political monarchy sa mga rehiyon at sa mga probinsya. We've got to do away with the political dynasties. That's step one. Para tayo magkaroon ng tunay na representative government. The concept of federalism under the American system is based on the concept of representation, yung democratic representation. Pero kung ang magiging sistema natin ay naghahari pa rin ng mga political dynasties in all of the provinces, there will be no true representation of the people. Ang mangyayari lang dyan, yung mga nagmimistulang mga hari, mga datu sa mga probinsya, sila lang ang maghahari ng patuloy dito sa ating lipunan. And that will not be consistent with true and representative democracy. I think mas makakasama pa. Under this current system of government that we have, under the present constitution, there are available remedies. Ang kulang lang talaga natin ay yung mga tao na who will refuse yung pang-aabuso dito sa ating lipunan. And I think that's the first thing that we should think about, at yung mga susunod na pamahalaan dito ay seryosohin, yung pag-i-institutionalize ng demokrasya, yung pagrespeto sa karapatan ng mga mamamayan. We need good people, really good people, na hindi iisipin at uunahin yung pagnanakaw sa pamahalaan. na ginagawang reward system pag nahalal ka, expectation nila payayamanin natin sila. Yan ang meron tayong klase ng pamumuno sa kasalukuyan. And ako kaya mas gusto ko, lagi yung tinuturo, yung I've been fighting against vote buying since 2013. I've been telling people, okay lang pamunuan tayo ng isang magsasaka o ng isang ordinaryong manggagawa. Mahalaga dyan, una, yung katapatan ng tao. Yung hindi tayo pagnanakawan. Yan ang critical sa lahat. Because I always believe that the key to success of the Philippines is the Filipino himself. Tayo mismo, yung taong bayan, yan ang sekreto ng success natin.
Yeah. Well, you always say, and it's not only you, there's a lot of people who's been saying that, we need good people. But, it never happens under the presidential form of government. Good people will never change the system because the system itself is providing things how to corrupt people. So I kind of disagree with your wisdom pagdating sa ganyan, Attorney Operario. But anyway, kasi kung halimbawa we truly need good people, I think we've had good people under President Duterte. And also, we did not know that when Bangag came to power, we did not know that he was such a bad person. Akala natin he was a good person. So akala natin, so there he was, eto na yung good people, magdadala ng bagong, ano ba ang slogan niya? Bagong bansa, bagong whatever.
Bagong Pilipinas.
Bagong Pilipinas.
Bagong Pilipinas. And it never was. So, parating, I think it's already kabaliwan to be expecting good people to change the system. And it never comes. It never comes. So, I think frustrated na ako masyado. Kailangan ko na isang diktador na pumalit sa gobyerno ng Pilipinas. Kailangan ko na isang diktador na merong Department of Gurgur na kapag halimbawa merong ganyang mga NBI na pumapasok sa bahay ng Senado. Can you imagine yung NBI mistulang tawag dito para bang bahay mo. Hinahanap yung tatay mo, tapos pinasok doon sa bahay mo ng mga tarantado para so that's how I saw things doon sa Senado, the non-lawyer in me. Kaya siguro frustrated na ako sa gobyerno natin, Attorney Operario. Gusto ko talaga ng diktador. Gusto ko ng isang matinding diktador sa Pilipinas. Para
Well, the irony of it is that kung gusto mo ng diktador, we cannot have that in a parliamentary form of government.
Yeah.
That can only be possible in a presidential form of government where executive power is concentrated in one person.
Yeah, at this point, kailangan na talaga natin siguro isang diktador para malinis na yan. Kung kinakailangan natin magbitbit ng malinis sa tao, good people, the only way is diktador really. If the federal parliamentary would not work because presidential system is not working anymore. Look what's happening to our country right now. We are now a butt of jokes of everybody.
Yeah.
May tanong din ako. Can you hear me?
Yes, Sir Mike. Go ahead, Sir Mike.
Ay, hello po, Attorney Mike. Katukayan niyo ako kasi Mike din pangalan ko. My question here is...
Gwapo kayo kasi Mike din kayo.
Thank you. Basta Mike, gwapo. My question, Attorney, is this. There are some lawyers who are saying na tama yung ginagawa sa tangkang paghuli kay Senator Bato, dahil merong hawak si Trillanes na warrant of arrest. My question is, do you believe na talagang galing sa ICC yun?
Well, ganito po yan. Yun pong warrant ng ICC, hindi po pwede po yung basta ipadala kay Trillanes at pagkatapos sasabihin niya may hawak akong ICC warrant and then i-implement ko sa Pilipinas. There are proper channels here. For example, kung susundin na lang nila halimbawa yung ginawa nila kay President Duterte, ito ay dinaan muna sa pamamagitan ng Interpol. And the Interpol has representatives here in the Philippines and that representatives here in the Philippines will coordinate with our local authorities at saka sila yung proper na mag-i-implement. Based on the declaration kanina na pinapanood ko from the PNP, apparently wala pang official representation from the Interpol as to the implementation of the warrant. Walang coordination with the PNP, walang coordination with the Interpol representatives dito po sa Pilipinas. So hindi ko maintindihan kung ano tong gustong i-implement ni Matibag na ito na dinadala niya sa Senado, because wala pa man siyang valid na warrant na implementable in the Philippines because they have not coursed it through the appropriate government agencies. At saka they did not follow the appropriate protocol. Sinasabi ni Claire Castro, under 9851 na pwedeng arrestuhin si Senator Bato. Well, yun ang sinasabi na nila noon na justification. Simula pa yung inaresto si Rodrigo Duterte. But the difference here, sa kaso ni Senator Bato, hindi sila dumadaan dito sa Interpol protocol. Ikalawa, doon pa man sa 9851, sinasabi naman din doon na kailangan ng pag-aresto doon sa tao, pag-surrender doon sa tao, will be in accordance with existing treaties or extradition treaties. In this particular case, ina-assume ng ICC na meron pa silang jurisdiction sa atin. So that at the time daw kasi na isinampa yung kaso, ay under pa tayo ng ICC. And therefore, the Rome Statute will apply. Kung iyon ang susundin natin na lohika, if the Rome Statute applies, under the Rome Statute, a person detained in another country, kagaya po nito, halimbawa sa Pilipinas siya i-detain kasi dito i-implementa yung warrant, mayroon siyang karapatan to apply for interim release in the country where he is located, kung saan siya maaaresto. So, under the Rome Statute, pwede palang mag-apply ng bail, ng piyansa. Even then, si President Duterte at ngayon si Bato de la Rosa. But what they are trying to do now is to duplicate yung ginawa nilang, I will use the term, yung pag-kidnap, extrajudicial rendition na tinatawag ng mga abogado noon ni President Digong. And itong gusto nilang gawin, on the basis of this paper na hawak-hawak nila, kukunin na naman nila si Senator Bato de la Rosa, isasakay sa eroplano at dadalhin sa Hague. And once again, violating the rights ng kapwa natin Pilipino. I think what is happening right now, why people are gathering dyan sa Senado hanggang ngayon nagbabantay, because the people have had enough na pambababoy sa batas natin dito sa Pilipinas. Para tayong wild west, kung ano lang maisipan nilang gawin. Walang batas. Basta kukunin ka namin, dadaling ka namin sa Hague para mawala ka na dito sa Pilipinas. And bilang isang Pilipino, talagang ito isang malinaw na pagtatraidor sa karapatan natin bilang mga mamamayan ng Republika, sa aking pananaw. Yung ginagawa nilang sistema na yan ay mga sistemang pampubuli, pangkikidnap at pananakot sa taong bayan upang hindi na tayo pumalag. Parehong-pareho rin po ito ng sistema na nangyari noon nung pagdedeklara noon ng martial law. Lahat na nag-uupo sa gobyerno ay pinakulong na lang bigla. At pagkatapos yung iba sa kanila ay nagkawala na. Nagkaroon ng mga disappearances, yung tinatawag na deseparados. If we don't stop it now, papunta na naman tayo dito sa direction na ito. And I think mas kagandahan itong social media, the internet, mas mabilis ang pagkalat ng impormasyon at people are more informed about what is happening. Hindi yung basta-basta tayo nauuto ni Claire Castro na kung ano nung invento na baka sinasabi.
May tanong ako. I mean, I haven't seen the video kung meron kang reaction doon sa NBI, yung ginawa ni Matibag. Kung meron kang opinion doon. I haven't seen that. Pero so far, parang I have not heard any statement from the DOJ secretary kung meron man kayo narinig or kung meron man kayo narinig sa ombudsman or ang narinig ko lang is the Senate President. Kasi di ba hindi I think my question is who should police the NBI? Who should police Matibag for doing what he did at the Senate?
Well, here's the thing, The NBI is operationally, jurisdictionally, under po siya ng Department of Justice. So it is the Secretary of the DOJ who has direct control over the NBI. And magandang tanong mo yan, ano? Anong posisyon ng DOJ dito? Apparently hanggang ngayon, parang tahimik pa rin sila.
Wala nga ako narinig na statement.
Hands off ang DOJ dito para kung magkamali man si Matibag, kasalanan niya lang yan. Walang may gustong umako ng kasalanan ni Matibag. But that is
Right.
not proper. Under lang siya ng DOJ. So dapat ang susundin dito is the DOJ. So we are assuming na ang kilos ni Matibag is with the imprimatur o utos ng Department of Justice kung hindi kumikibo ang Department of Justice dito.
Right. So ano ang
Which is-
laban ngayon ng Senado to police this kind of people and agencies doing such things to the Senate na halos wala ng respeto sa mga senador?
Essentially yung Senado can protect their own ground, ito within the halls of the Senate. Yan lang ang jurisdiction nila. Outside of that, ayan ay part na ng executive department ang magpapatupad ng batas paglabas mo ng Senado. Kaya makikita mo, obserbahan mo ang ginawa ng NBI, pumosisyon sila sa labas ng gate. Nung ayaw silang papasukin ng mga Senate Sergeant at Arms, ang ginawa nila, hinarangan nila ng sasakyan nila yung gate mismo ng Senado. At sinasabi kung hindi sila papapasukin, walang makakalabas. And I
Diba?
think eventually the court would have to come in. The Senate leadership would have to go to court para mai-establish kung ano yung mga tunay na limits ng dapat na ginagawa nitong NBI. At malinaw naman talaga na coercion na itong ginagawa ng NBI. They are pushing the buttons, parang pinupush nila ang Republika sa isang constitutional crisis. And this is what they are doing. This is what Matibag is doing right now. I think presumably, dahil hindi nga kumikibo ang DOJ, this is with the consent of the DOJ that they put our country in the middle of a constitutional crisis. Ang tanong dyan ay bakit nila ginagawa yun? Yan ang ako ang sa pantaha ko dyan, my theory is that who gets to benefit if there is a crisis? It is the executive department.
It is.
Because you can use all the extraordinary powers of the executive department, including the use of the military in the case of in the event of a crisis, constitutional or otherwise. So, ito ang sitwasyon meron tayo sa kasalukuyan. Kaya doon sa isang vlog ko, sabi ko, magbantay kayo, because mabilis ito. Maraming mangyayari ng dahil sa sitwasyon na yan dito sa Senado.
Attorney Mike, follow-up question. Sa Senate, the minority this time composed of those belonging to the Soto group, I think they're making a resolution na encouraging Senator Bato to
surrender.
Sumuko na lang siya sa sa NBI.
ICC.
And then ang sagot ni Senator Bato, atat lang kayo na mapadala ako sa ICC. 'Yun ang sagot ni Senator Bato. So, my question is, talaga bang susundin ang proseso kung halimbawa susuko siya sa NBI, or agree pa rin ba tayo na talagang dadalhin siya sa The Hague?
Una, pardon me for my French, isang kabobohan po na isuggest mo kay Senator De La Rosa na sumuko ka na sa NBI. Again, pardon my French. Pero napakalaki pong kalokohan yun. Na isuggest mo kay Senator De La Rosa na sumuko ka sa NBI because it has not been properly established whether or not the NBI is holding a valid warrant of arrest. At ang plano ng NBI, pag inaresto siya, isasakay siya sa eroplano, that will still be a violation of our Constitution, of 9851, of the Rome Statute. At bakit mo gagawin yun? Di ba? Parang, tapos isasuggest mo, sumuko ka na lang para umalis ka na dito sa Pilipinas. Walang garantiya. Kaya nga hindi lumalabas si Senator Bato de la Rosa nun because the executive department could not guarantee that his rights under the Constitution, our existing laws, and even under the Rome Statute ay rerespetuhin ng pamahalaan. That's the reason why ayaw niyang lumabas. Kahit na mayroon ng resolusyon noon yung Korte Suprema tungkol sa extradition, nilinaw na ng Korte Suprema, kailangan dumaan sa Korte, pero mukhang walang balak sumunod ang Executive Department sa Supreme Court sa bagay na ito. So why will you...
This begs me the question na may kinalaman ba ang presidente dahil allegedly may witness or testigo na nagsasabi na siya ang nag-utos talaga na isakay na sa eroplano ang former President Duterte? You think...
Well, I think malinaw na yan doon sa mga previous testimony nung iniimbestigahan sa committee ni Senator Marcos, si Amy Marcos, kung sino yung mga nag-utos nito. Ay, inamin na rin nga ni John Vic Remulla na meron silang small committee na nagplano ng lahat ng ito. All of them are part of the executive department. And presumably, siyempre, the ultimate authority in the executive department is the president. Unless inaamin ng presidente na sobra niyang incompetent na hindi niya alam yung pinaggagawa ng mga tauhan niya. Ay, kung ganun ka pala na klase ng presidente, ano pang ginagawa mo dyan?
Baka matay ka
Hindi mo
na
pala
lang.
alam yung ginagawa ng tauhan mo. Oo, di ba? Magbakasyon ka na lang talaga.
Attorney, yung question ko, di ba nag-release ng ICC ng statement na inaamin na nila na meron talagang warrant?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
yung hawak-hawak ni Trillanes, yun ba yun?
Hindi natin alam yon because parang kopya lamang yun. Because sabi ko nga sa iyo, yung warrant na yan must go through the proper channels. Hindi yan pwedeng from ICC diretso kay Trillanes. Oh, walang ganun. Hindi siya authorized to do that. It has to go through the proper diplomatic protocol. Kung yan nga ay valid ICC warrant, it has to go through the Interpol. The Interpol would have to relay it to their representatives in the Philippines. Yung kanilang representatives will go to the PNP and coordinate with the PNP regarding the implementation. So, yun yung tamang protocol. Hindi yung ICC to Trillanes, walang ganun, di ba? Parang invento lang ni Trillanes yung sistema na yun. Niloloko na lang nila yung taong bayan. Pag ginawa nila yan, ito ay simple na kidnapping na naman yung gagawin nila. At harapan in broad daylight.
So, Attorney, I have a question also. Are you seeing this situation ba in connection with the impeachment of BP Sara?
Everything about politics is connected. Walang hiwa-hiwalay dyan. They push for the impeachment of Sara Duterte in the House under the belief na may pararating nila ito sa Senado. They were thinking that they will have sufficient number. They thought na maa-arrest nila si Bato, may papadala sa Hague bago magkaroon ng botohan. All of this are connected. Ang hindi nila na-anticipate dito, I think, is that yung biglang susulpot si Bato de la Rosa doon sa Senado at biglang magkakaroon ng Senate leadership change. And I think this is where their plan went haywire. Nagkagulo-gulo na yung plano na yung lahat ng gusto nilang mangyari biglang, nabasura lahat. Sapagkat ngayon, back to zero sila. And I think they are scrambling for answers. Because here's the truth. The impeachment is dead. With 13 senators, kailangan nga nila 16 para ma-impeach si Sara. Ngayon may 13 na most likely ay kakampi kay Sara. Wala na, patay na itong impeachment nito. So they would have to do everything now to remedy, to reverse the situation. Kasi ang magagawa na lang nila dyan, ito, anticipate nyo ito, I would imagine na ganito mangyayari niyan. The Ombudsman, the DOJ will step up. They're gonna start filing cases against yung mga ninunumbrahan nila, yung mga pinangalanan nila, sina Joel Villanueva, sina Jesus Cordero, sina Jingoy Estrada. They're gonna step up the pressure here, because practically the president has less than 2 years ng pamumuno niya. Kasi malapit na kasi 2027 ng October or November magfa-file na ng mga certificate of candidacy. That is next year. So by the time na may nag-file na ng panibago na certificate of candidacy, the tendency in politics is that people will gravitate towards the new candidate and away from the existing leadership.
Yeah.
So alam ng Pangulo yan na ilang buwan na lang ang natitira dito. Ano? Probably 1 year and 6 months na lang yung effective control niya. Because pati mga politiko nito, eventually, ngayon lang yan na nagsisip-sip pa sa Pangulo, may napapala pa sila eh. Pero eventually, iiwanan nila yung incumbent president in search of a new and greener pasture, a better future for them. Kasi may 6 years ka na namang pinag-uusapan dito.
Yes.
So this is Philippine politics for you. And I think BBM, the president and his administration right now knows this. And they're trying to play their cards right para makontrol pa nila yung situation. Because time is ticking, Mr. President. At it's not in your favor. Kaya they're gonna do everything they can within their power this year. Because 2027 will be too late. And magmi-middle of the year na tayo, matatapos na ang 2026. So they have 6 months to implement whatever it is that they want to implement. Pero I think dahil sa tulong ninyo, kayong mga nasa social media, tayong lahat na nagpa-participate, i-engage, we are helping in educating the people right now. And right now, ito ang the greatest weapon that we have against an abusive government, uninformed citizen.
Yeah.
May question ako, attorney. Since nabanggit mo na rin lang kanina, that the ombudsman and DOJ will step up to apply more pressure to individuals that is inflicted sa ganitong sitwasyon. Is it possible na magkaroon uli ng isa pang kudeta sa Lunes?
Sa Senado, you mean?
Yes.
It's very unlikely. In order for the administration to do this, it's gonna cost them a lot. Alam mo, usap-usapan noon, yung first coup d'etat, removing Chis Escudero, mambali-balita noon, na merong siyempre may mga exchange of consideration for that. Kasi biglang, nung nag-testify ang mga diskaya, nung umaga, nung hapon, may Senate leadership change na. Oo. So, ito, para mangyari ito, again, kung ganun pa rin ang sistemang susundin, it's gonna cost a lot more. And I think hindi na siya mangyayari because nga, mulat yung mga tao sa sitwasyon. I think kinalculate na rin ng mga senador na bumaliktad, like the Villars, sina Senator Loren Legarda. I assume that they would have calculated the risk involved here. And they thought it through at naisip nila the reward is greater than the risk at this juncture. That the president is on the final 16 months or 18 months of his term.
Ayun, attorney. Isa sa mga naging discussion mo kasi sa video is yung the 13th who voted for the vacancy of the SP. So ano bang naging essence ni Senator Bato doon sa nangyari sa coup d'etat doon sa Senado?
Yung boto niya is everything. It's the difference in the situation that we are in right now because sa Senado 24 kasi yan eh. So ang majority mo dyan ay 13. Hindi pwedeng 12-12. If 12-12, then even yan, mananatili yung incumbent. So they need 13. Ang bali-balita dyan, is that one of the senators na nandito sa minority right now, isa sa mga nag-abstain, nangako na before na boboto na siya. So hindi na sana kailangan si Bato de la Rosa. But last minute, nagbago ng posisyon. So it was really necessary for Bato de la Rosa to go there. At sabi ko pa nung pinapanood ko yung eksena ng takbu-takbuhan tapos hanggang nakarating siya doon sa session hall, para akong nanonood ng pelikula ni Tom Cruise, yung Mission Impossible. Because it is the difference, It defined yung kung anong mangyayari sa Senado, anong mangyayari sa estado niya bilang senador, kung maa-aresto ba siya ng NBI. Because kung wala ang majority sa kanila, hindi siya poproteksyonan ng liderato ng Senado. That is very clear. Hahayaan nila Tito Soto at ng ibang mga kaalyado nila sa Ping, sa Dilao, no, na arestuhin si Bato de la Rosa ng NBI nang walang opposition. They're gonna do that. But now, with the majority in their favor, hindi ito pwedeng gawin basta-basta ng Senado. It also defined now kung ano mangyayari dito sa impeachment. Dahil ang buong Pilipinas, lahat ng mga politiko, alam na nila, patay na itong impeachment na to. This is not gonna happen anymore. So this is going to change the political dynamics ng Pilipinas sa kasalukuyan. In a few more months, makikita mo, magkakaroon na ng mga switching of sides dito, even among local politicians. Sabi ko nga nun, paulit ko sinasabi, the walls of Malacanang is now crumbling, and it's gonna fall in bigger and bigger pieces.
So, ako, attorney, I think they will continue to try getting rid of Bato na mapunta sa ICC kasi one of the goals, hindi yan maalis na kailangan mabawasan ang mga senador para makabalik ang sina Tito Soto, right? So, pag hindi si Bato, isusunod si, what do you call it? Si Bongo. Because the ultimate goal really is to get rid of Sara. Ngayon, kung hindi man nila magawa yan, I think, tawag nito, bumabanat na sila ng mga kung ano-ano mga kasong pwedeng isalpak dyan kay Bato and or kay Bongo, just like what you said. Siyempre, the more path, ano na ba yung sinasabi noon nila Sas? The more path.
Multiple path.
Yes.
The more chance of winning.
The more chances of winning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kasi ang ultimate goal talaga ay talagang birahin talaga na mawala si Sara. Kaya nga nagtataka ako kasi nung ginulo ni Matibag yung Senado, there was no statement from the DOJ Secretary. And there wasn't even a statement sa Malacanang. Sabi ko, kung panahon ito ni President Duterte, nako, sunod-sunod na yung mga statements ni President Duterte sa mga nangyayari ganito. But, we have a president who probably, siguro sinasabihan lang na, don't speak, don't say anything, kami ang bahala. You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly. Ang tawag dyan is yung lightning rod principle. When you're the president, you create as many lightning rods as possible para kung tamaan ng kidlat, doon tatama. And sasabihin lang niya, hindi ko alam yan, di ba? Wala akong kinalaman dyan. Hindi ko utos yan. Sinunod lang nila yung batas. Ganun lang yan. Pero ultimately, when you are the president, every agency in the executive department is under your control.
All the roads
even liability here. Alam niya yan kung ano yung nangyayari. So, kung hindi niya nga alam, then you have no business being president.
Yeah.
Yung mga
Can
bagay.
you imagine, hanggang ngayon, wala pa siyang statement. May statement na ba siya? Wala pa, di ba?
Wala pa rin. Hindi pa siya lumalabas.
Wala pa.
So, going back to the president, hindi ba you've been comparing ears from left ear to the right ear? So far, do you still believe na somebody has already left?
Well, sinasabi ko nga sa inyo, it's common practice na in all governments all over the world na meron silang mga body double, sometimes for security reasons.
Talagang naniniwala ka pa rin.
Ginagawa talaga nila yan. But the problem here is that what if the one running the country right now is just a body double? Then we have someone who has never been elected by the people na nagpapatakbo ng ating bayan. No wonder our country is in such great mess. Na ganito tayo sa kasalukuyan. And so many people are noticing it na iba-ibang question, iba-ibang itsura ng presidente. Yung posture niya, yung lakad niya, nag-iiba, tumatangkad, lumiliit. So, hindi mawala sa isipan ng maraming tao kung totoo ba ito pa ba talaga yung presidente natin? And why is it parang yung kanyang appearances are very selective, paisa-isa pa, So yung duda ng mga mamamayan ay patuloy na naglilinger, it's because wala na tayong tiwala sa pamahalaan ito. For so many years na, for 4 years, ay tayo pinakain ng pinakain. Tawag ko dito, we've been treated like mushrooms. We are kept in the dark and we're being fed horse shit. Ganyan ang pagpapatubo ng mga kabuti. Tago mo sa dilim, pakainin mo ng tae ng kabayo. And this is basically what's happening to the Philippines right now. We are being kept in the dark and we are being fed by Claire Castro this horse shit of information na binabato nila sa sambayan ng Pilipino.
Yeah. Attorney, kaya nga sinasabi ko sa iyo, the federal parliamentary form of government is a lot better because under the situation right now where we have a presidential form of government and we don't even know as to whether or not the president of the Philippines is still alive or still running the country. When you have such a totally fucked up government, agencies are no longer working. You could, the majority at the federal, at the parliament could easily declare a no confidence and then voila, there would be a new government. Unlike today, we're going to have to wait until 2028 for a change in leadership, if there will be a change in leadership. Diba? So yan ang pinaka-problema ng presidential form of government natin. I'm not trying to convince you. That's just a statement from me.
Actually, ako, in terms of model, I agree with you. In terms of model, na yung parliamentary system would probably suit us better than a presidential form of government. But the transition from here, where we are right now, the presidential form, to the parliamentary system na gusto natin, kung ngayon natin ito gagawin, it will be very difficult because there are so many institutional reforms that has to be in place before we transition to that. I agree with you na mas mainam ang parliamentary system para sa modelo ng Pilipinas. Pero how to get there, I think we need to transition from it by correcting the system right now under a presidential form of government. Burahin natin, demolish natin lahat itong mga political dynasties na ito. If it takes another people power revolution, a reset of government, then do what is necessary. But we cannot immediately transition from presidential to parliamentary because it's just gonna get from bad to worse. Yung sistema ng nakawan because yung kultura ng nakawan, yung vote buying, patuloy na nandyan eh. So we'll just create new grounds for them to cultivate na palawakin itong control mga mahihirap sa pamamagitan nito.
I think, Attorney, with the composition of the Congress right now, I don't think na magkakaroon talaga sila ng political will to really institute real change of the
reforms.
Yeah.
Plus, also, we've been reading a lot of there's been news about the no elections in 2028. According to what I read, it's gonna be just local elections, and there will be no national elections kasi nga extension of terms. So,
sa kabubuhay yung VP position.
Diba? So ang pinag-uusapan nga natin, they will probably be switching to a parliamentary type, which we do not believe kasi masyadong maiksi yung timeline to institute a parliamentary type of government. So we kind of
walang sincerity.
Oo, hindi mangyayari yan. Kahit na sabihin pa nilang 100% devolved na yung LGU response. Sorry, I'll be back.
Nakat siya.
Well, to pick it up from there, yung cancellation of the 2028 election, I think it has been on the agenda of the administration since day one. Remember, noong 2023, nag-umpisa na sila noon ng charter change. Nagkabistuhan nga lang kung sino may pakana nito, na lumabas na nga, na sina Martin Romualdez and So, we already know na since day one, ang agenda nila is not to have an election in 2028. So, nung nabisto ito, they went to Plan B. Plan B was to impeach Sara Duterte. and then send President Digong sa Hague, and then eventually later on, pag wala ng opposition, then you go for a charter change, suspend the election. Yun lang naman ang pag-asa nila to subvert the will of the people. Kasi kung halalan at halalan ng pag-uusapan, wala na, tapos na ito. I don't think they will, no one in the administration can win the election against Sara Duterte. And the only way they can win against Sara is if they eliminate Sara from the equation. So, I agree with you. At yung mga ugong-ugong na yan, ng chismis, matagal na po yan. 2022 pa po. But it will not happen because the people are gonna go against it. Ngayon pa lang nakikita na natin itong mga protest. If you think about it, this is the first time since nung umupo si Bongbong Marcos, since all of these protests emerged. Ngayon lang na nagkaroon ng rally that is now going on the third day. Lahat ng mga rallying ginawa noon, araw lang. Yung isa, yung sa EDSA noon, it was only 2 days na nangyari. Tuwing gabi lang yung ginaganap. Tapos na nag-uuwian yung mga tao. Ito, on the third day na, going to the third day, andun pa rin yung mga tao, nagbabantay pa rin ang mga tao. So the people are really informed. At gusto talaga nila ng pagbabago. At mukhang hindi pa aalis yung mga tao doon sa Senado.
Yeah. That's very nice to hear, Attorney.
Thank you so much, Rainy. Yeah. And I know ang dami namin natutunan sa inyo at sabi nga ngayon may lumabas ulit breaking news, dumami na naman daw ang pulis ngayon, pati yung mga Marines ngayon naka-deployed na raw sa sa Senate ngayon. So mas lumalala siya, mas dumadami. Actually, bigyan ko yun ng idea. Kanina kumanta si Senator Bato ng military namin, theme namin, 'di ba, ng kanta. So sa war kasi once na may isa sa amin o sa grupo namin na may kumanta na gano'n, it means calling for the help na o ng backup na. So dito na magkakasubukan ngayon yung nasa
loyalty.
Yung mga men in uniform. Ito na yun. Ito na yung hudyat ni Senator Bato de la Rosa. And I'm grateful nagsalita na siya o kumanta na siya noon. Ibig sabihin, this is it na.
Question sa iyo, Madam Yumi, but how do you know na for Bato yung mga military na yun? Baka mamaya yung military.
Magkakasubukan di ba? Dito na magkakasubukan yung mga MIU. Hindi natin masasabi. Pero yun kasi yung once na sa aming mga military practices, once na may kumanta na gano'n, ibig sabihin, help na yon, backup na yon. So it really depends on the MIU kung kanino sila go o mag-ain. Papahin.
Ano yan, MNR, kasi kapag yung mga sundalo na yan, yung kantang yan, pagpapaalala kung kanino ang kanilang ang kanilang loyalty. And when a soldier sing that song, it means that that person, that individual is asking for unification siguro, or pag-accommodate sa kanyang sitwasyon.
Will they allow themselves to be simply guards of private armies ng mga
So tingnan natin kung tatalima ba itong mga men and women in uniform.
So ayun, Attorney Operario, your last words. Sorry sa sa pagmahaba naming
Attorney Operario, thank you for parati kitang pinapanood.
Salamat po.
Yes.
Thank you po. And yung alam niyo yung I started yung the blog na ginagawa namin almost every day. Only pag magkatapos nilang arestuhin si President Digong, it was because nung nanonood ako ng social media, ng mga media, ng mga reports, I noticed that they are not telling the truth. At nakita ko dito yung pagbabahagi natin ng impormasyon ay may uhaw ang mga mamamayan sa katotohanan. And this is what we are doing right now. We're just telling the truth. Inahayag lang natin ng totoo and we're letting the people decide for themselves kung ano ang gagawin nila na armado sila ng katotohanan. Tayong mga ordinaryong mamamayan, wala tayong armas, wala tayong lakas, wala tayong pera para ipanlaban sa mga maling gawain ng pamahalaan. Ang meron lamang po tayo ay ating paninindigan na nakabase sa ating kaalaman. Ang mas mahalaga na lagi nga po ang sinasabi ko, mahirap makialam ang taong walang alam. But right now, I think this is the greatest challenge to our democracy so far. Our republic is in peril. Itong pang-aabuso ng pamahalaan sa karapatan ng mga mamamayan ay umaabot na sa sukdulan. Dahil kung pwede nilang gawin ito sa mga mamamayan, kagaya nila Senator Bato de la Rosa, kay President Digong, kay VP Sara, na meron namang mga impluwensya at meron din namang kapangyarihan at mga taga-suporta, ano kaya ang kaya nilang gawin sa mga ordinaryong mamamayan kagaya natin?
Correct.
So, the only power that we have is ourselves. Yung ating collective action bilang mga mamamayan, ito lamang po ang tunay na kapangyarihan natin. The freedom of expression of the people is guaranteed under the Constitution. Wala pong makakakuha niyan sa atin. Not even them na may hawak ng kapangyarihan. If we insist on our rights. Karapatan natin ang magsalita, ang bumatikos sa pamahalaan. It is our God-given duty to defend this democracy and our republic. Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Attorney Mike.
Thank you po.
Attorney.
Mauulit pa po ito.
Not for sale.